Well, hello and welcome back to math class. You'll notice we've moved on to lesson 2. However, lesson 2 is still going to be about ratios. We are still in module 6.1. Remember from yesterday, ratios are two numbers. Okay, two numbers. Some of you were asked to give a ratio on your Google form. You gave me a sentence. When I want a ratio, remember I just want a list of two numbers. Two numbers could be something like this. 1 to 7, okay? Just numbers, no sentences, no words. Okay, well, let's move down here to exercise 1. Exercise 1 says come up with 2 examples of racial relationships that are interesting to you. So we're looking at racial relationships, which means we're going to kind of give a situation that's going to deal with numbers. So for example, here's mine. Okay, so the racial relationship I have is my brother watches twice as much television as I do. Now, be careful. Here's the number that's in our story, twice, which stands for 2. If I had to write a ratio, 2 numbers for my story, my brother watches twice as much television as I do, my ratio would be 2 to 1, okay? Because he watches twice as much as I do. Even though the 1's not listed in my story, the ratio is 2 to 1. Let's look at my next exercise. Okay, so under exercise 1, my second example, for every 2 chores my mom gives my brother, she gives 3 to me. The ratio in my story is 2 to 3. All right, let's move down here to our exploratory challenge. A t-shirt manufacturing company surveyed teenaged girls on their favorite t-shirt color to guide the company's decisions about how many of each color t-shirt they should design and manufacture. The results of the survey are shown here. Okay, so our title here says favorite t-shirt colors of teenage girls surveyed. We have the colors of the t-shirts. And we have the votes. So for example, 1 person red, 4 blue, 2 green, and so forth. On the bottom it says, describe a racial relationship in the context of this survey for which the ratio is 3 to 5. So I have to come up with the situation and write the story, but it's narrowed it down to where my story must be 3 to 5. So I need to look up here in the top and find where I see 3 votes and 5 votes. Well, if I look carefully, 3 here looks like it's here in the orange, and the 5 looks like it's pink. So I'm basically looking at the votes for orange to pink, but I'm going to write my relationship below. Okay, so I described the relationship by saying the number of girls who answered orange. I put orange first because the number 3 was listed first for orange, to the number of girls who answered pink. Pink was my second number, the second choice listed, and so my story is orange and then pink. The number of girls who answered orange to the number of girls who answered pink. Okay? You can pause this so that you can get this written down into your book. All right, let's turn over here to the back side. Now we are going to read the ratio relationships, and we're just going to write the ratio. Remember, ratio is 2 numbers. No statements, no sentences, just numbers. Okay, let's read this description. For every 7 white t-shirts they manufacture, they should manufacture 4 yellow t-shirts. The ratio of the number of white t-shirts to the number of yellow t-shirts should be, and so let's see, we're going to underline here, we want white t-shirts first to the number of yellow. Well, let's go up here and find white was right here, 7, and yellow was 4. White first, 7 to 4. Okay, let's move down to the next one. For every 4 yellow t-shirts they manufacture, they should manufacture 7 white t-shirts. Same thing, but we flipped the story. Let's see what the ratio asks for. The ratio of the number of, we want yellow first, to the number of white listed second. Now let's go back into our story. Yellow would be first, which would be 4. They want white listed second. White is 7. So I have the same integers, but if you notice, the numbers are reversed because I need to follow what the relationship or the description says. Okay, next one. The ratio of the number of girls who liked a white t-shirt best to the number of girls who liked a colored t-shirt best. So we need to go back to the front and we need to look at the white t-shirts versus the colored t-shirts. All right, so let's go ahead and see white. Here's our white. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we had 7 here that chose white. And then we want to know the 7 white versus the colored. Well, all of these are colored, so we're going to have to add all of these X's up. So you need to count all of the X's for colored shirts. Red, blue, green, pink, orange, and yellow. So go ahead and count those X's. And while you are doing that, I'm going to go ahead and put here white t-shirt. All right. Okay, so if you counted all of these, let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. So we had 7 for white and 19 colored. So on my book right here, for white, white was listed first, white to colored, and we said colored was 19. Okay, once again, a ratio, remember, is 2 numbers. All right, let's read the next description. For each red t-shirt they manufacture, they should manufacture 4 blue t-shirts. What they're asking us to do is they're wanting us to find the ratio of the number of red t-shirts to the number of blue t-shirts. Oh, I pulled the page back up here. Red t-shirts looks like it's 1. And blue t-shirts looks like it's 4. Okay, so when we look back in our book, we wanted red first to blue. Red we said was 1, and blue was 4. Okay, the next description. They should purchase 4 bolts of yellow fabric for every 3 bolts of orange fabric. The ratio, here's our ratio, the ratio of the number of bolts of yellow fabric to the number of bolts of orange fabric. Well, if you look closely, we're talking about bolts of fabric. We're not talking about the t-shirts on the front page. We're saying here they should purchase 4 bolts of yellow. Well, so yellow will be 4. And then they said for every 3 bolts of orange. So orange is our second number. So we'll put 3 as our second. Okay, next one. The ratio of the number of girls who chose blue or green as their favorite to the number of girls who chose pink or red. So the first colors we're looking at, first thing that was listed was blue or green. So we need to go over and we need to count the blue and green shirts. So flip over to the front. Here's blue. Had 4 and green had 2. So we have a total of 6 shirts. So for our first thing, blue or green, the first number is going to be 6. The second number in our ratio is pink or red. So let's go look at our pink and red. Here's the pink. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here's the red. 1. So we have a total of, looks like we have the same thing, which would be 6. Okay, last one. 3 out of every 26 t-shirts they manufacture should be orange. Well, the ratio of the number of orange t-shirts to the total number of t-shirts should be. All right, so our ratio, the first number we want for the ratio is the number of orange t-shirts. First number is orange. All right, so let's look back here on the front. Here's the orange. The first number in our ratio is going to be 3. All right, now let's see what our second ratio, or number in our ratio is supposed to be. The second number says to the total number of t-shirts. Total number. Well, total means all of these. So we have to find out how many t-shirts there are in all. So we have to count all of the X's to get the total. And if you counted all of these X's correctly, you should have found out that there is a total of 26. Okay, so you can see by just looking at this information right here from the survey, we were able to come up with lots of descriptions, lots of different situations, and form lots of different ratios. Okay, so the most important thing I want you guys to remember is that when we're writing a ratio is 2 numbers. The order of the numbers is very important based upon the description of the ratio relationship. You're going to be given a Google form where you have to read through some descriptions like this, and you basically have to pick all of the ones that are true. And I'm going to tell you there are 3 of them that are true that you're going to need to pick. Okay, so on the bottom we have here one last thing I'm going to ask us to do before we finish today's lesson. You will notice that there are 4 ratios. 4 ratios, 4 to 3, 3 to 4, 19 to 7, and 7 to 26. Let's look at the first one here. The first one we have is 4 to 3. If I had to write a situation based with 4 to 3 by using this survey, what could I write about? What dealt with the numbers 4 and 3? Orange at 3. Well, if you notice, it looks like here I could have talked either about the blue or the yellow because they both have 4, but the only thing I could have talked about with a 3 is the orange. So here's an example of my situation, 4 to 3. They should make 4 yellow t-shirts for every 3 orange shirts. The ratio of yellow t-shirts to orange t-shirts. So go ahead and write that down in your book for me, please. If you need to pause the video, you sure can do that. If you notice the next ratio, we could have basically turned it around and said, well, this time we're going to say, what's the ratio of the orange t-shirts to the yellow? But we're actually going to skip this one. Let's look at the next one, 19 to 7. What in the world did we use 19 for here when we looked at this? There's no 19 here. Well, if we look at the top up here, we found out that 19 dealt with all of the colored shirts. So we could say something about the colored shirt versus the 7 white. But we're going to drop that one as well. And we're only going to work on the last one. So if we needed to come up with a description for 7 to 26, if I looked here at my survey, 7. 7 looks like white shirts. And if we recall 26, there's no shirt that has 26. 26 was the total shirts. But I can make my ratio using total. So I have here 7 out of 26 t-shirts should be white. My ratio is the ratio of the number of white t-shirts to the number of total t-shirts. So go ahead and write those 2 examples down in your book so you have them with you. And then when you are ready, you can open up the Google form. Like I said, there's one problem. You are to read the situation that deals with females and males. And you are to pick the 3 statements that are true. Be very careful because the order of the numbers or the ratios and the story have to match. Okay, there are 3 that are true. All right, have a great day, and I will see you all tomorrow.